Hi, Mr. Sapone here, and today we're going to look at how to convert a measurement from one unit into another one. So an example would be if you're traveling 60 miles an hour. How many feet per second is that? And we'll get to a problem like that, but we're going to start a little bit slower. And there are 6 steps to converting units, and rather than go through them all and you not really know what I'm talking about, we're just going to use them to convert some problems, and we'll use them step by step. So let's start with this problem right here. And it says, how many inches are there in 50 feet? And some of you immediately may know that, well, there's 12 inches in a foot. So I just multiply this number times 12, 50 times 12. But that is true, but I want you to show me how to cancel units because problems are going to get more complicated and you might need unit conversions for more than just simple problems like this. So if you form bad habits now, it's only going to hurt you later on. So what does it say to do? What is rule number 1? Start with the unit you want to change. Well, the unit I want to change is 50 feet. Multiply it by some blank fraction. The unit I want to change goes in the denominator. So the unit I want to change, feet, must go in the denominator. The unit I want to convert into goes into the numerator and answer. And I want to go from feet into inches. And it says this goes in the numerator and the answer. And this is the basic setup of the problem. And it says insert the values for your conversion factor. This is going to be a conversion factor. So all we got to do is figure out what is the relationship between inches and feet or a foot. Well, we know that 12 inches is 1 foot. And what we see is we have a feet up here and feet down here. And these are going to cancel because units cancel in division from our last video. So we multiply across 50 times 12. Divide by the bottom number. The bottom number in this case is 1. So our final answer is just 50 times 12 or 600 inches. Because we have an inch here and we still have an inch over here that was not canceled. And that's generally how we convert units. And again, it might seem a little tedious now. Why do I have to do this? But it will be more helpful and beneficial to you as we go along. So I'm not going to allow you to just give me an answer. You're actually going to have to show me the units canceling at each point along the way. Another way to set this up is I like to color coordinate it sometimes when you're first seeing this. This might help you. So you always start with what you want to convert 50 feet. And the unit you want to change goes here and here. And I color coordinate it for that reason. These units are going to be the same. And the unit we want to go into is going to be the same here. So I just wanted to color coordinate this. These units cancel. But this is generally how we set the problem up. And let's do another example, and I'll do this one with the colored boxes. How many feet is 744 inches? And again, some of you might be ahead of the game. You might say, well, all I got to do is divide that number by 12, and I get the answer. And that is true. But let's see how we set it up using conversion factors. And it says we have to start with the unit we want to change, which in this case is 744 inches. Now we're going to multiply it by a blank fraction. And there's our blank fraction. As you can see, what unit's got to go in red? Inches. And we're going in the feet, so feet's going to go in the blue and the other blue. The unit we want to convert into goes in the numerator and the answer. Now we have to insert the values for our conversion factor. And the 1 is going to go up top this time. 1 foot is 12 inches. So now we're going to multiply across and then divide by 12. 744 times 1 is 744 divided by 12. And of course these inches will cancel. And that leaves us with 62 feet because again, these inches are canceling. So this might be a useful guide to you. You may want to make a copy of this in your notes for a while. Use different colored pens or maybe make this a solid box and make this a squiggly box if you don't have different colored writing instruments. Just to get into the habit, just to learn the setup. If you really remember that units cancel in division, whatever goes here goes there, and whatever goes here goes there, that'll kind of help you along. But this may be useful to you to copy the slide down and use it as a guide as you're first starting to convert the numerous problems I'm going to give you. And we'll go along how many seconds are in 40 minutes. And again, I set up a box for you here, so we can do this way. We are starting with 40 minutes. 40 minutes. And the unit that goes here also has to go down here. Minutes. And I'm asking how many seconds there are. So this is going to be seconds. Seconds goes there. It goes here as well. And what is the relationship between minutes and seconds? Well, 1 minute is 60 seconds. So I insert my conversion factor, and I know these minutes are going to cancel. And I'm going to multiply across 40 times 60. That's going to be 2,400. 2,400 divided by 1 is still 2,400 seconds. And always get into the habit of dividing by the bottom number, because a lot of times this might not be 1. There might be another number there. So you're always going to multiply across and divide by the bottom one. Those are the steps to doing it so we don't confuse ourselves. But again, we have 2,400 here for our final answer. How many cups are in 4.5 gallons? And you probably might not know how many cups are in a gallon. So you're like, well, I need to know that to answer this. And that is true. And that's kind of why I put this one there. So we can at least set the problem up for now. Well, we know we have 4.5 gallons times, and if gallons is up here, gallons got to go down here. And if I want to convert into cups, cups must go here and in my final answer. Now all I need to know is how many cups are in a gallon. I can figure this out. So sometimes you have to use Google and look up a conversion factor. It happens. But generally I will tell you that 16 cups is 1 gallon. So we have 4.5 times 16. That's going to be 64 plus 8. That's going to be 72 cups. The gallons here is going to cancel. You're multiplying across 4.5 times 16, dividing by 1. That's not changing it. Final answer, 72 cups. So same process in each case. We're doing the same exact thing. How many eggs are in 15 dozen? And I'm going to keep doing this. And maybe you can probably stop this video right now if you're watching it at home and kind of do this yourself just to make sure you can do it before I do it. Well, we have 15 dozen. And I'm going to abbreviate that DOZ times. And if dozen's here, dozen has to go here. And I want to go from dozen into eggs. And eggs must also be the final answer because that's what I'm looking for. How many eggs are in 15 dozen? Well, what's the relationship between eggs and a dozen? Well, 1 dozen of anything is 12 of that quantity. 12 eggs is a dozen of eggs. Dozen cancels, and we're left with 15 times 12, or 180 eggs. You multiply across, divide by 1. And when dividing by 1, it doesn't change. And this is the opposite version of that question. Now we're going from eggs to dozens. And we have 89 eggs times. Again, eggs is here. Eggs must go down here because units cancel in division. They cancel in division. I'm going into dozen. Dozen goes up here. Equals. Some answer in dozens. What's the relationship between eggs and the word dozen? Well, 1 dozen is 12 eggs. And we know eggs is going to cancel. So we're only left with dozen. We multiply across. 89 times 1, that's going to be 89. 89 divided by 12. So you put 89 in your calculator, divide it by 12, and you'll get about 7.4 dozen. So the idea here is that units cancel in division, so we're able to use those rules for converting units with conversion factors. And we're not really changing the identity of this because we're kind of multiplying it by 1. 1 dozen is 12. So we're not really changing the value here. We're just converting the units using rules for units and conversion factors. And what do we have here? How many seconds are in 3 hours? And we'll go ahead. This problem, we can't immediately solve it, and I'll show you what I mean. If we try to go 3 hours directly into seconds, 3 hours times, and I put an hour here, put a second here. That's generally how you might set it up. But what's the relationship between hours and seconds? I don't think you know that. I don't think you know it's 3,600. But so generally, you're going to want to do this in 2 parts. You're going to first want to go hours into minutes and then minutes into seconds. And I'll show you what I mean by that. We're going to take 3 hours and convert it into minutes. 3 hours times, and I want 1 hour here, and I'm going into minutes. Final answer is in minutes. Relationship between hours and minutes, well, 1 hour is 60 minutes. So 3 times 60 is going to be 180 minutes. Now I'm going to take that 180 minutes and I'm going to convert that into seconds times. And I have minutes here. So I want minutes here. And I'm going to put seconds here. So I'm going in the seconds, seconds in the final answer. So 1 minute is 60 seconds. And final answer, I don't have a calculator here. 0, 0, 8, 4, 10,800 seconds. So that's going to be our final answer. If you multiply 60 times 80, that's all I was doing. The minutes cancel, and you're left with seconds. This many seconds. So this is a two-part problem. When I ask you how many seconds you've been alive, you're going to have to kind of go from, say, 15 years to days to hours to minutes to seconds. You're going to have to do a multi-part problem. So get in the habit. Sometimes we have to do these. We have to do two-part problems. It happens. And last but not least, a swimming pool holds 10,000 gallons of water, and 1 gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. What is the weight of the water in the pool? Well, I'm asking the weight of the water in the pool, so my final answer should be in pounds, because that's what I want to know. Pounds goes here, pounds goes here. This is just working backwards. And what do I have? Well, I have 10,000 gallons of water. So there's multiple ways to approach this. 10,000 gallons. And of course, gallons must go here. What is the relationship between gallons and pounds? Well, the problem tells us that 1 gallon weighs 8 pounds. 1 gallon, 8 pounds. And gallons is going to cancel. 10,000 times 8 is going to be 80,000 pounds. And that's our final answer. So we see that units are canceling in division. We're multiplying across, dividing by the denominator. In this case, it's 1, so it doesn't change the value. And that's how we convert units using a conversion factor. Hopefully you have a good understanding of that, and I do have several unit conversion handouts for you. We're going to do them over the next few days. So, this is Mr. Zapone. I'm out.